Good Thursday morning, everyone. Welcome back to Weather with Sim again. I hope you guys are all having a great day so far. And in today's weather forecast, we got a few slight risks for severe storms, which one of them will be today and another one of them will be tomorrow. And then we're also going to be going over the tropics at the end of this video. And as I show you guys the tropics, it's just going to be wild, okay? Especially with what the GFS model is showing. And I will show you guys that as we do look at the tropics at the end of this video. So let's go ahead and look at today's threat. And as you can see, we do have a slight risk for severe thunderstorms across portions here of the Panhandle, Oklahoma, and as well as Texas. This isn't a very populated area, so this isn't, a super huge concern for today. But this is still going to be something to keep an eye on, though, as we still do have a severe weather threat for today. And the tornado threat for today, as you can see, there's no tornado threat, which makes today even less concerning. Wind threat, we do have a 15% risk for large hail, or wind threat, we do have a 15% risk for damaging winds, not large hail, but damaging winds. And then hail threat is a little bit on the lower side for today. And if we look at the marginal risk along the East Coast, heading from northern New York all the way down into the Carolinas, and then we also got another one over here across eastern Florida, and as you can see, no tornado threat over there either, but we do have a wind threat for both areas. And then hail is going to be a little bit more of a concern for Florida compared to the rest of the East Coast. If you are along the East Coast, just be aware of damaging winds, but if you are across eastern Florida, be aware of both damaging winds and large hail. And if you do live here in Texas, be aware of stronger wind gusts and as well as large hail too as well. So that will be the main concern for today. If we look at tomorrow, as you can see, we do have another slight risk, a level 2 out of 5 threat for severe thunderstorms across portions here of southern Nebraska back into northern Kansas. So, a pretty small area. This area is also not as populated either. And if we look at the tornado threat, as you can see, we do have a 2% risk for tornadoes, which makes tomorrow a little bit more concerning compared to today. So this will be a day to keep an eye on as we do head into tomorrow. Wind threat, we do have 15% risk for damaging winds, and hail threat, just a 5% risk for large hail. So main concern tomorrow will be damaging winds, but a few tornadoes will also be possible too as well. So if you do live in the slight risk, make sure to have your tornado action plan in place just in case tomorrow, which, like I said, does include northern Kansas back into southern Nebraska, and as well as portions of the central part of Nebraska too as well. And also be aware of damaging winds and even some large hail too as well. And then the last day, which looks to be the biggest threat of severe weather, heading from eastern Colorado, including the Denver metro area, all the way down into portions here of Missouri and as well as Arkansas. But we'll keep you guys updated on that day as we do get closer. Let's go ahead and look at the total precipitation that is from now all the way to June 16th. And as you can see, quite a bit of precipitation still is going to be falling across the plains and as well as the Midwest. So we still need to be watching this entire corridor right here for flash flooding, and as well as rain too as well. So rain and flash flooding will be the main concern for this entire corridor that I'm circling right here. And I know that looks like a pretty weird shape, but it is the corridor that we are going to be watching for. And even back over here towards parts of New England, we still got some pretty high rainfall amounts too as well to keep an eye on too as well. So 1 to as much as 4 inches of rain will be possible in this area, and then 1 to as much as 4 inches will also be possible in this area too as well. So we gotta keep an eye on both corridors for the potential flash flooding. And then something else I do want to show you guys, the reason why I'm using a different model is to just show you guys how wild this is, because like I said at the end of this video, it's just going to be wild. Because look at that, from now all the way to June 16th using the GFS model, look how much rain is being shown. 446 millimeters of rainfall. That is just wild, guys. And look at that, 484 millimeters of rain across portions here of western Cuba. Isn't that just wild? And if we look at 416 millimeters to inches, that is over a foot of rain. Look how wild that is, guys. And the reason why the GFS model is showing this is because it thinks a tropical storm is going to develop and kind of do a track kind of like that, which is very wild, guys. Or, you know, it could even do something like this. Who knows? But this is just very wild to see, guys. So if you are in western Cuba or even southern Florida, be on high alert for major flash flooding, as we could see some rainfall totals as high as 500 millimeters of rain. Could look at that. That's very close to 500 millimeters of rain across portions here of western Cuba. But look at the difference with the European model, though. And I am heading the same day out from now all the way to June 16th. And I mean, I kind of do agree with the European model a little bit better. I don't think we're going to see that much rain, but it still does show 4 inches of rain. That's still enough to cause some pretty dangerous flooding and across parts here of Florida and as well as Cuba. So that's pretty wild to see with the European model too as well. So we do have agreement that there will be a lot of rainfall. We just don't have agreement on how much rainfall there will be. But like I said, this is just very wild, especially with the GFS. And we will likely see some systems, you know, be moving through this area as we do head into, you know, June 16th. But I do want to show you guys on why the European model wants to show a bunch of that rain. So we're going to go ahead and use the European model. And yeah, it does show, you know, some waves of showers and storms moving through Cuba, which isn't surprising from what we did see. And, you know, it just, you know, continues to show more showers and storms. It doesn't show any tropical storm or hurricane or even depression developing, thankfully. But it still continues to show some tropical waves, you know, moving through Cuba and as well as Florida. So it's still going to be, you know, something to keep an eye on as we do head into June 16th. Now, let's look at the GFS model, okay? I do want to show you guys why the GFS model wants to show so much rain, and this is not very good agreement with the European model. Look at what the GFS model wants to show. Just look at that. It wants to show a tropical storm developing right here, and I can go back so that low isn't in the way, but look at that. A very, you know, small tropical storm or hurricane is being shown on the GFS model, and just look how, you know, heavy that rain is already moving through parts of Cuba. And that's why the GFS model is just pointing out, you know, tons of rainfall across portions there of western Cuba, and that's because of how much rainfall could be you know, fallen across western Cuba. And just look at that. That is very extreme there across portions there of western Cuba. But it shows that, you know, dying down as it heads off, and it shows it redeveloping and starts to impact portions here of southern Florida. And as it does, this will likely be more of a rain event. It won't necessarily be a tropical storm or hurricane, but this will be more of a rain event. And then it, you know, kind of shows, you know, a couple of potential heavier rain events pretty much just to the east of Florida. So that is a pretty wild, you know, model right there after it's showing, you know, a potential tropical storm or hurricane developing. And this could develop, you know, as soon as June 11th, because that is only 4 to 5 days out. And, you know, that's, you know, close enough to where we could agree on a potential system developing. But like I said, the European model just doesn't want to agree on that. So we will need to be watching for a potential tropical storm or a minor hurricane as we do head into June 11th. So from now to June 11th is going to be the time period to watch for a potential tropical wave developing into a storm or hurricane, as this model does want to show that happening. But like I said, the European model does not want to show a whole lot of that, as you can see. So this is still going to be something to keep an eye on because it is getting my mind. Let's look at the ocean temperatures now. And as you can see, we do have some pretty warm ocean temperatures across the Atlantic Ocean, and I think that's the reason why the JFS model think it's going to develop into a hurricane. To just look at that entire corridor of warm temperatures, literally right in this area right here that I'm circling. So that entire corridor right there is where the warmest waters are, and GFS model wants to show that storm kind of moving in that path. And I know it's really small, but that's because its image is really small because it's showing the entire world, but it kind of shows that storm going like that, and that is in the area that does have the warmest water. So that could definitely be a concern as we do head into June 11th, like I said, if those waters continue to stay warm from now. But thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you guys did enjoy this video. We will watch the tropics by now, especially because models are already starting to show potential for development during the next couple of days, and so we will need to be watching the tropics closely for a potential hurricane or storm, but more than likely a tropical depression, as that model did show, a pretty small area of very heavy rain, potentially bringing lots of rainfall to parts of Cuba and as well as southern Florida. And like I said, we do not have very good agreement on how much rainfall we're going to see, but this is still looking concerning though, so this is going to be something to watch for as we do head into the middle of June. But don't forget to like, subscribe, and as well as comment down below. Also, don't forget to hit that notification button so you are notified when I do my live streams, because I am going to start doing more live streams more frequently, and I want you guys to join them with me, as I do appreciate you guys telling me that I am doing a good job. So if you guys want to get reminded about my live stream, you guys can go ahead and click that notification button down below, but also don't forget to subscribe and like if you haven't already.